Hello, this is G Sync, and I'm going to try to share a small portion of my moving meditation method that I use to prepare myself for combat. Um, this is normally done after, and then sometimes, occasionally before, I actually do seated stilling meditation. You all have that tape for the stilling meditation. You need the one for the moving meditation. Um, as I am showing everything that one does with a weapon, one does without it. Moving meditation for me is the ability to find rhythm. Then once the rhythm is found, to coordinate it with my breathing. And then once it's coordinated with my breathing, to envision both of them moving synchronously. And once they're in synchronization, I visualize it in my mind, picturing myself moving this way and breathing this way perfectly. And once that's done, my mind makes my body move in a perfect manner, or at least in a manner which is perfect to me. The best way I can do it. The emotions that I'm using are striking and basically striking right now. And there are other movements that I use doing this technique. That's if you read the book, you can see that better. Right now, all we're doing is practicing exactly just the striking and the coordination with the feet and hands, hand and feet moving together, pivoting or cutting the corners, getting the angles, and then also circling and moving in a circle. You can do this standing in one place, and if you can, you can also get yourself into a mantra. My mantra normally is the mantra for the Pugilistic, which is Rinpyo to Shakai Team Exercise on a 9-step pattern for the most part, and I try to do at least 36 repetitions of that mantra in synchronization with the movement before I move on to the next step. Transitions, of course, is where you have to get your body moving properly and get your breathing proper. Recovery is very important. When you can do this exercise, barely breathing, you're good to go. The exercise normally lasts about 45 minutes to an hour. This is kind of quick as I'm doing it right now. The sessions in between each punch are quite long. I normally will put a mile in of running in place before I do each one of those techniques, or at least, sorry, not a mile, but a half a mile in before I do each one of these techniques. It's just what ends up happening. And I do it left and right. So what we want to talk about now is really the sequence. What am I doing again? So let's repeat. I get the rhythm. Once the rhythm is attained, then I get into my breathing. Once the breathing and the rhythm are in sync, then I retreat into my brain and I really try to see myself doing it first from the outside in, and then once that picture is very, very good, then I imagine myself in the vision doing it from the inside out. Once this is done, I'm ready to do basically some real transitional stuff. I'm ready to do my mantras. And the mantras become clarifying now because they have meaning and significance. And they give me power. The emotional quotient is added with the mantra, and that's why it's so important to do it. Emotions are learned because, as you can tell, are learned to give you more power. As you can tell, this exercise, I make it look kind of simple, but it is quite exhausting until you get the hang of it. Of course, Western long boxing is all about continuous motion. Once you begin movement, you never stop moving, unless, of course, when you have to. And once you do that, it's based on what your opponent is going to do, or you waiting to see whether or not he is going to quit, or he's going to stop working. The other motion is, or not just him, but more than them. So once you get to the point where the mantra's in and you're really sitting there, you have a chance to really do some great transitioning of consciousness with this. because you're literally working, your body is working in a state of being where that it is more important for you to move properly and to be in synchronization with your breathing and your thinking and your vision than it is for you to feel tired. Tiredness never really comes into play. It's something that's a detachment. You're only aware of it just in case to make some slight adjustments. Once those adjustments are made, you don't even feel that anymore. The actions you see me doing, of course, is doing a jab and a cross. And after the jab and a cross, I normally go right into a hook series. After the hook series, I go into what I call the uppercut series, which you see me working now. Again, you see me getting first facing the opponent and then cutting, pivot, hitting the oblique. Then once the oblique is gotten, okay, you see me turn the corner again, step, and circle around. And then once I circle around, pivot back so I can actually handle him that way. You'll see me in other videos actually using this technique to actually work another opponent. What I've added to these techniques, which I found very interesting, are my Eskrima cadena de mano, or chain of hands, empty-handed contact. This is extremely important because once I start moving in a certain way, I have to, it's predictable, I have to do techniques that are unpredictable. Uppercuts, being able to do them in a repetitious manner, in a fluid manner, in sync with your feet, come in very handy. At the higher levels of striking, or at least competing, or even handling someone with experience and skill, they're never going to be where you expect them to be. No matter how perfect your stance is, no matter how perfect your range is, it doesn't really matter. You're going to miss them. You're going to have to make such small adjustments in order for you to be able to catch them or to become effective. And you're going to have to be in such good shape to do this. It ain't going to be funny. So techniques like this, these moving meditations, being able to do them with some type of force, with fluidity and strength and root and intensity is very important, because when you actually work, it's going to be, you're going to have to do this. Again, what I'm doing here is the 4-count striking technique. Striking the head and torso. And then spinning around and doing the same thing, doing the walk around circle. And then of course, hitting ground. This technique is done normally with sticks or with knives. Practicing it without the knife and with weights in my hands help a lot. Now again, look how I'm doing this. I'm actually doing this with a 1.5 pound ball in my hands, okay? Strengthening my fingers, okay, and keeping myself in shape, keep myself proper. Notice in between each set, I try to run in place about 36 to 50 steps, just getting myself worked in, trying to recover a little bit from the explosion of energy. Trying real hard to maintain a steady flow of breathing, and at this point, I can actually feel the energy is going through my body, specifically my heartbeat. And I want to make sure that when I hear it, it's nice and even. I train normally with a metronome, making sure, or with a gauge to set whether my body is working in a way which is productive. My heartbeat should never get above 120. Maybe 130 at tops. If I'm doing the punching, they might go up to 155. I might bring that heartbeat way back down. And that's important. And at this point, even without the machinery, I should be able to feel it. Okay, this particular exercise you should be doing is 11 minutes. Again, normally I do this exercise for, almost, I would say almost 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending upon what I'm doing. And it's easy to lose track of time. This is a 6 count. The 1 count before that was a 5 count. Okay, this is a 6 count technique. It involves pivoting, opening, and closing. Also, right hand or rear hand strikes in the uppercuts. technique is confusing even when I'm practicing, so it's definitely confusing when you're working with an opponent. The techniques here also, again, keep you in a nice, beautiful flow. So anyway, you've got the technique now, the moving meditation, the technique. You can actually practice it. I suggest that you do. I suggest that you work this as often as possible, because this technique does work. If you get it down, it really does work against an opponent. It makes it seem like you are really unstoppable. You're really strong. You'll have continuous flow, and it'll be very hard for someone to figure out where you're going to come at next. This is especially good technique to have when facing an opponent that you cannot beat before the training. Thank you.